Back on Marching to Madness this afternoon with a very special guest out of the SEC, Coach Rick Barnes of the Tennessee Vols. 727 wins in 35 seasons as a head coach, 5 different stops, 25 NCAA appearances. You would have had the 26th, the COVID year. I'll tell you, Coach, a great career. And you got this program, reaching new heights, it looks like.
Lots of good people. Every stop we've had just quality people in our program. And that's really been something that I have felt is the most important thing. You get people around you that are better, then you got to get out of the way and let them work too, and make sure they feel comfortable giving you their opinion and be willing to accept some criticism from them if I'm doing something wrong. And that's why we've been fortunate to put a number of different guys in the head coaching positions throughout the years. And then you come back with our players. The number one thing has always been our players. We want to create the best environment, best situation that we can for them. We want them to know that we're going to get up every day, work as hard as we can to help them reach their dreams, go after them. And the biggest thing probably through that is to make them understand just how difficult it is to get where they want to go. But if they get that chance, that opportunity, they work to get it, we want them to know that they know that they're prepared.
You mentioned coaches that you're putting in the profession. 2 left your staff there. Desmond Oliver went up to East Tennessee State, and Kim English goes into the D.C. area there in Fairfax, where you were at George Mason.
Yeah, and we're excited for both of those guys. You got one guy that has been at it a long time in Desmond and had tried on numerous different jobs throughout the year, but came here from day one with us at Tennessee when we got here. And we're all excited that he was able to get a crack at it. He's wanted to be a head coach. Obviously, I've never recruited a guy that just wanted to be a recruiter. I've always wanted to recruit coaches, and he wanted it. He's got the opportunity. And Kim English on the other end of the spectrum is one of the youngest coaches in the country and hadn't been in the business very long, but you knew from being with him that he was a rising star, a person that has so much going for him. And I'm excited for him because he started out exactly where I got started as a head coach. And I spent, 5 years there as an assistant. It's a special place and a great location. They're in a really good league. And but he's the right guy for that job at this time. And they'll both do really good work.
Coach, the NBA Summer League is synonymous with the Tennessee Volunteers and the SEC. You had 7 players in there, and of course, we know Keon Johnson, Jaden Springer, #1 draft picks, 21st to the Clippers, I think was Keon, and then Jaden to the 76ers. I thought the guy that ran under the radar, and I watch these games, it was Kai Alexander, and I looked his stats up earlier. He had 11.4 points and 9 boards in 5 games for Phoenix.
Kyle's going to get there. He's been there. He had played some with Miami, and Kyle's had been playing. I think he started playing 3 years before he got here, so that makes it going on 8 years, 9 years. He's been playing competitive basketball. Before he's done, he's going to get a career in the NBA because, one, he's a dream to coach. He's a guy that teammate all the way, going to do the right things for any organization. And he's just scratching the surface. I mean, he's long, he can run. He's kind of just, his body's going to catch up with him eventually. And he will do the dirty work. He'll do anything that they ask him to do. But there is no doubt in my mind at some point in time, he'll find a club and he's going to stick.
I was just curious with the Tennessee program, the players, who started to filter back in the spring and summer, of course, for workouts. Talk about how, the tone and the mood after all we've gone through. How did it manifest itself there?
Well, that's really a great question. It's I don't think anybody can tell you last year was a fun year for the most part for any of us. And we basically missed the entire summer, a little bit in the fall. This summer was really, in the spring, we got our spring workout in, but when we got everybody going into summer, other than the fact that we had a number of guys that left and played for their national teams, it felt more like normal than we've ever had it in a long time. I mean, it really felt normal, and which we thought we had a really good summer. We thought we were able to get back to doing things as a team. Our just last week was really our first real team function. I think once the school started, and when it was going on, all the guys, were talking about how much they enjoy, how much we needed it. It was a big thing, not enjoy it, but they needed it. And they said they'd like to do it more and more often, because I think we missed all that because a year ago we couldn't hang around the locker room. We were always spread out. It'd be like being in a warehouse with 25 people, but you could put 3,000 in there. So it was just no intimacy to it at all. And I do think we're getting back to normal, even though today on campus they asked everybody to start wearing masks again for a couple of weeks, which, hey, we'll do whatever it takes, because we don't want to have to even get close to going through what we did, last year.
Sure. I agree wholeheartedly. And I know you've got a young man there who's a really nice ambassador for Tennessee basketball and really the game in general. You get John Fulkerson back for his 6th season. He's just a solid player, solid kid on the boards, so many superlatives.
He is. And you know what? I don't know. I'm probably safe to say he's had as much hard luck as any player that we've ever coached when you really think about it. He came in, people forget, in that class with Grant Williams and Jordan Bone and all those guys, he was the most highly sought after in that group. And we had his freshman year, we'd gone over to North Carolina, had gotten into a great game with them in Chapel Hill, and John was just playing phenomenal. Came home the very next game, took a charge against David Lipscomb. He missed the toward his labrum, blew his elbow out, just anything you could imagine. And he couldn't do anything at all for 10 months at all. And that set him back. And by then, Grant and everyone had got it going. And he came back really with a mindset, he would tell you, that probably where he had just decided to take a back seat. And he did that. And when those guys left, he was ready to step forward. And he had a great junior year. Then he came back last year and he got hit with the COVID early, and he never really recovered. He was the first guy that I would tell you, I understand COVID fatigue. I do, but he fought, and then he got it going again at the end of the year. Then he got the big concussion in the game against Florida, where he would have been, if we could have advanced, he would have missed the entire tournament. But he's had a good off season. He finally had some work done on his wrist that he needed to get done. And, but you said it, everybody here loves him because he's been resilient. He's a hard worker. He's going to do what he needs to do and help his team win. And we're excited about him being back this year.
Yeah, and you got to be excited about Victor Bailey, too. I remember watching him play for Oregon, and I knew when he transferred, I saw he was coming to Tennessee, I said, wow, because I knew he would be a factor. He got 10.9 a game, but I guess maybe the big thing you're going to do is see him shoot at a higher clip.
I think that the more he understands quality shots, once he understands he doesn't have to rush things, because he's got a really good, one dribble mid-range game, can get it to the rim. He's going to finish there better than he has in the past, but he's an extremely hard worker. He's going to put his time in. He's worked harder than he's ever worked in the offseason on his defense. And that's where he's going to have to show the biggest improvement. Shot selection and his off-ball defense is where he's going to have to really make up his mind that he's going to get better in those areas. And if he does, he has the chance to be as good as he wants to be.
Mm-hmm. Now, that backcourt, you got Kennedy Chandler, a 5-star point guard coming in. You have, of course, Bailey. Santiago Vescovi. Sometimes I think he runs under the radar because he did lead you in three-point makes with 53, and he shot it, I think, at about 38%. So you got a lot of versatility back there now, and you've even got Justin Powell transferring over from Auburn.
Yeah, we're excited about our perimeter players. Because a really good word would be versatility. We've got guys that can play. They can play some point at times. As you mentioned, Kennedy is the true point guard on the team. Even though Santiago has really gotten so much better in so many areas, He's getting himself in elite shape. You know, you can't be an elite player until you're in elite shape. And Santiago he's changed his body, but he obviously has been forced into running the point for us, and he and Kennedy can do that. You know, they'll both do good jobs there when we have to mix it up if something happens with one or the other. But and you mentioned Justin Powell. He's going to do a good job. Really good passer, terrific passer. He's going to shoot the ball well for us, but he does pass it well. We'll have to get better defensively, and I would say that for all of them. You know, we're going to have to keep getting better defensively, and with our young guys, you know, we're just excited about the young class we have coming in as freshmen too. But we do feel like we've got maybe the strongest depth we've ever had on the perimeter.
Well, and then you got Josiah Jordan-James now. He goes in the 4 and the 3. I'm just wondering, he led you in rebounding. Are you looking at this maybe as a breakout season for him?
Yeah, Josiah is, again, he's a dream to coach. He's worked as hard as anybody to create the game that he wants to have and continues to work. Has really developed into an elite shooter. He's going to be able to really shoot it the way we want him to, and his decisions. He is the most versatile guy on our team. He can go where he needs to go. He's played every position since he's been here, and we're excited for him because if people knew how hard he worked, if they knew what kind of teammate he was, how he represents this university, you couldn't ask for a better statesman in any way, shape, or form. But basketball-wise, there is no doubt we feel this is going to be a breakout year for him.
I know the post, you're going to be deep in there too. You've got 2 young men, a 5-star center, Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, and then Jonas Adu's 4-star from Charlotte, where I kind of call home. You put those with Uros down low. You got a tough cover there in a lot of ways.
But and then you had Olivier.
Olivier.
Yeah. And the 2 young guys you mentioned earlier, they both have terrific potential. They do. They're learning what all kids coming in learn, how hard it is to make that jump from high school to college. But both of them terrific attitudes, really want to play. They want to be really good basketball players. Uros, we feel, is getting himself in the best shape he's ever been in. And Olivier had a terrific summer. He played for his national team and in Finland, but he's gotten so much better. And we think he's another guy that can have a breakout year for us.
Coach, going to the game as a whole, obviously, we know about Texas and Oklahoma now coming up into the SEC at some point. Obviously, your record at Texas spoke for itself with 402 wins, got them to the Final Four. You had 4 Sweet 16s, 2 Elite Eights. Talk a little bit from the basketball perspective about the Longhorns and the Sooners, joining forces with the league.
Well, one is just going to take the best league in the country and make it that much better. The SEC, there's not a league like it in the country. It's the best athletic league in the country from top to bottom. And both of those schools, as we know, have proud traditions dating back into the 40s, 50s. And, so they're and they've been good in multiple sports. I think when most people think of those schools are thinking football, but they both have terrific basketball histories and have done well. Both have been to the Final Four, and so it's only going to enhance our league even more. Which is, again, I can't imagine right now there being a better athletic conference in the country than what we have. And once we bring them in, we'll have to adjust our scheduling. My thought would be we'll have to do what the Big Ten and the ACC did when they expanded to 16. We'll probably have to play 20 conference games, which is okay. That's okay. Yeah. But how we end up putting it all together, I'm not sure yet. But really good move for the league, and I think it's a great move for those guys.
It'll be interesting to see how they put the tournament together with 16 teams, SEC tournament, I think.
It will be, and again, I haven't kept up with how they do it in the Big Ten and the ACC, because I think they play with 16, 15, do they? 15?
15, yeah.
I don't know how they do it. Is ACC 15 or 16?
15. Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to do it, you know, but I think that what you'll do, I don't think you can deny teams of going to the conference tournament. So
Not at all.
That means if we have to start on Monday with a tournament, Tuesday, whatever it may be, so be it, because I just don't think you can keep kids from going to a conference tournament, because that's the first step in allowing any and every team in the country to have a chance to play their way into the NCAA tournament.
Last thing, Coach, as this is your first time on here, and I worked your camps at Clemson long ago, just wondering if you would capsulize a little bit or talk about coaches or maybe even other people that played a key role in what's been just an unbelievable career.
Yeah, you know, I have been unbelievably blessed. God has brought people into my life at the right time. It started, honestly, back when I was in the 8th grade. I had a principal who actually just passed away last week, Clinton Sigmund, who was he just at the right time, he was there and he took care of me and helped me get back on track. And my teachers at that point, you know, Bill Johnson, Joe Ryan, Alan Beam, Sam Davis, and a teacher by the name of Alice Watts were really, really important to me. And without them, and then my high school coach, Mark Lowerly, I'm not sure if I'd have made it much further out of high school, but they were tremendous, inspirational people, great teachers. And going to college, played for a great coach, and Bob Hodges, who became a great mentor, and learned a lot from him. And then once I got into coaching, every stop along the way, Eddie Biedenbach, when I was with Eddie at Davidson as a volunteer, Bob McKillop, who's now the head coach at Davidson, was a coach there. Jeff Busdelic was a part-time coach, a man by the name of John Cochan. And they taught me really early the importance of understanding recruiting. And then from there, I left and got to go and spend 5 years under Joe Harrington, who had spent 16 under Lefty Driesell. Mm-hmm. Joe was a great influence. He told me it'd be the greatest experience of my life watching a program, George Mason, who had just gone Division I, being built from the ground up. And it was. I mean, I watched Joe literally mastermind, and along with our athletic director, Jack Evans, and we had a great president, George Johnson, not only build a university, but trying to, you know, basketball was a flagship program. And then from there, I was fortunate to work with Wimp Sanderson at Alabama. Yeah. Then a year with Gary Williams. I'd got to know Gary really well from all my time at DC. You know, he was at American University at the time and was around Gary a lot. And Gary's just an incredible basketball coach. Then coming back as a head coach, I went around my first year as a head coach. I went and met with Charlie Spoonhour, Hugh Durham, every coach I could, that as an assistant coach, I had scouted with, and coaches I was so impressed with. And I just wanted to learn everything that I could learn. Started going to a lot of NBA camps, doing all those kind of things, watching, obviously being in the DC area, doing that. But the guy that, again, that I'm not sure I would have stayed in the business as long as I have, it wasn't for Dave Gavitt. When I went to Providence after being a one-year head coach at George Mason in a great league with great coaches, I was fortunate again and blessed that the Big East office was in Providence. And Dave Gavitt, Danny Gavitt, his son, was on my staff, but I had a great staff, you know, over time, you know, Larry Shyatt, Fran Frischel, and Dennis Felton. I go down the line, guys that were really just great coaches, and we went at it. You know, we made up our mind we were going to go at it with the best of the best. But Dave Gavitt was there and helped me at that point in time, because it's really the first time I encountered situations that I don't think you could ever dream of. But being able to stay in touch with him, and then later on, Mike Tranghese was there. But after leaving there, again, working for Bobby Robson at really and truly at Clemson, terrific. And then DeLoss Dodds for 17 years. If there's a Mount Rushmore of ADs, he's got to be the first guy on it. And then when he retired, the situation at Texas eroded quickly for myself, Mac Brown, and Augie Garrido. But again, God had a plan that he was going to bring me to East Tennessee, to this university where my wife graduated from. And I've been fortunate. But with all that said, it goes back to, I could sit here and talk about all my assistant coaches, because they are the ones, and I've always tried to hire people that I thought, or I know, that are better than me, and let them work. I've talked about that when we started. But the players, you know, we made up our mind long ago the kind of players that we wanted to coach. We wanted to get those guys that kind of had a chip on their shoulder and guys that were willing to go at the very, the big trophy. And we've been blessed with just a quality of great players. And so I'm thankful. I'm really, God has blessed me, and like I said, in more ways than I deserve. A great family that's been willing to move and sacrifice along the way. But when I look back on it, I could tell you, I'm not sure anybody had a chance to work with as many terrific ADs, associate ADs as I did, and have the assistant coaches that I've had and support people. I mean, I think right now we've got the best coaching staff in the country. And I believe that. I really do. Yeah. And I think it'll show up with this group of guys.
Coach Rick Barnes on Marching to Madness. Coach, I tell you, it's great catching up with you, and I hope to see you on down. I know I'll see you when you guys play the Gators up here, but I hope to see you more than once this year.
Well, I do too, and I appreciate you having me with you.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on. Maybe we can do it again, sometime mid-season or something.
Sure, let's do it.